They say that the night is always darkest just before the dawn. And the hope at this point has to be that dawn will come while the club is in Dubai doing a little training, doing a little team building, hopefully getting a little rest and just enjoying life as a professional footballer outside of training and everything that goes into the actual job itself and just enjoying themselves in some warm weather. So players back from injury or hopefully getting back from injury relatively soon. We've got a lot to talk about. Winless in 7, 3 straight losses, lots to get to. Let's do it. How's it? Welcome back to another episode of the Loose Cannons. I'm BG. Glenn, I think, just threw up in his mouth a little bit down below. Hellfire and brimstone down there. And backstage with all of the graphics up, I actually thought Ryan put on like a leather motorcycle jacket. I thought he was turning over a new leaf. It's just a flannel button up, and he looks great. Gentlemen, how we doing? Good to see you, fellas.
Half my head's cut off. I'll be right back.
That sounds like a personal problem, Glenn. I did tell Glenn that I thought it would be a lot cooler if he would drop the camera so that most of the flame of that fire were like shooting up right in front of it. And it would really look like hell, which I think Glenn might be living in his own personal right now. But Ryan, how are things?
Yeah, I mean, good. I'm definitely not as crazy, I guess, as a lot of the tweeting is suggesting from most Arsenal fans. I kind of went on a little bit of a rampage in our FA Cup game. I think I tweeted the most during a match combined ever. I went on I was just tweeting like crazy. But yeah, if I had time to think about it, I kind of, shockingly enough, I rewatched a little bit of some of our last few games, and a lot of interesting things to talk about, and a lot of things that I'm sure that the three of us will not all agree with.
I can all but guarantee that it's going to be an entertaining show from a disagreement standpoint. Glenn, now that half your head isn't cut off, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Hi, everybody. I'm Glenn, AFC New York. I make videos on Arsenal games. I'm working on one right now, but I'm also working on going to the UK for the first time in my entire life next week, and I'm going to the Crystal Palace game, and I have 2 YouTubers who I don't know if they want their names mentioned, so I'm not going to say their names, that have been like so extraordinarily wonderful to me. And I'm very excited to meet as many people as I can in the UK. As far as Arsenal goes, I'm with the second half of Ryan, where it's like, I'm calmer now. That's the only reason I haven't released a video yet, is because I was just going to yell at every Arsenal fan that's just going ballistic on social media right now. In fact, my video, which is going to come up within the next few days, I took screenshots of a lot of you fucking idiots. Wow. I took screenshots of a lot of you wonderful people. That's it. I'm very happy to be here with you guys. And no surprises like last time when I found out Arsenal moved their game live on the air with you guys.
I'm very happy that you were able to get things figured out and you're going. I'm very much looking forward to hearing about the trip, and hopefully
I would
checking
love to,
in with me while you're over there. Like I'm really looking forward to that. I got to be honest.
I would love to do stuff while I'm there with you guys. So keep that in mind.
We'll talk about that off the air, but while you're there, and enjoy it for sure.
And Glenn, I'm going to send you what I want you to pick me up at the Armory. So
you got it, my friend.
Because it didn't work. Because when I did it, it didn't work out very well.
You guys,
yeah, my package is still in the mail.
You guys, pick out.
Don't make me laugh. You're making me laugh.
Guys, I need you to pick out something. It's my holiday gift to both of you. So pick out something.
Glenn, I don't have room in my closet.
Fuck you, Grinch.
I want a pair of boxers where the cannon is right in the middle.
Well, no, it'd
Cannon of the
be like
Arsenal logo?
looking down the barrel of the cannon.
Yeah. That's what I want.
I
It
didn't
just
mean
says
fuck
Arsenal
you.
FC.
But then it's going to
I
be
meant
like one of
this-
those weird things where you squeeze it and a little thing comes out. Anyway, Ryan, I'll start with you.
What? I was
We're-
trying to figure that one out.
Yeah,
Go.
see, like, anyway, whatever. Ryan, we're a little beyond halfway at this point of the season. We just went from 12 viewers to 3.
What? Oh no! What happened?
I'm sure it's
Oh.
us.
It was my story.
No,
I'm sorry.
So we're about halfway through, and I kind of wanted to start with this before I let you guys kind of just go, because I know you two have a lot to say, and I'm sure that with what you guys have to say, I'll be jumping in here and there. But I wanted to start with, if you're writing a summation of the season thus far, and I think this is kind of a good, like I say, it's just on the other side of halfway. What is your headline? What is the overarching?
Oh,
I don't want to say theme, but what's the prevailing thought?
Ryan, you
you-
need to answer. Ryan, answer that first because I'm
Oh
trying
fuck!
to.
I had no. I wish.
All right, the headline for the show. Oh, I mean headline
No,
for the
okay.
headline
I'll give
for
you.
the season.
You got. I'll give you mine. Because I did kind of. I blindsided you guys with this. I didn't give you any.
No, I already got one, but go ahead.
any prep on this, but I'll give you mine, and it's opportunities missed. And I think just that it encapsulates so much of what we've watched this season, but it's not so doom and gloom that, the sky is falling. We need to fold the club, tear down the stadium, build an amusement park, all of this. It's opportunities missed. And really, when you have the expectations that not even us as a fan base, as a supporters group, but the expectations within the club itself, players, coaching staff, ownership, executives, it's opportunities missed when you look at everything on the whole. Obviously, we can get very specific and talk about certain scoring opportunities that have been missed, that have led to opportunities being missed in terms of points gained, wins, so on and so forth, where we sit in the table. Renette says worse than the previous one. Okay. I mean, I think, I haven't looked at the numbers. I think we are a few points off the pace from where we were a year ago. I think there's a little bit to be expected there. I think maybe last year we arrived a bit too early. But with that, again, comes the expectation that we're going to take a step forward this year. And while I will not say that we've taken a full step back, because I don't believe that to be true, we've definitely not moved forward or progressed. We've sort of come back to earth a little bit, if that makes sense. I'm going to shut up now. Glenn, you said you have yours. Go for it.
I lost it though because that was such a good speech.
I actually have mine.
All right, you go, Ryan. You go.
My title for the season is how much tinkering is too much tinkering.
I like it.
I think if you told Arteta in the beginning of the season that this, I guess take what was our last game? Liverpool, our last Premier League game with Liverpool. If you show him that 11 and you go, this is the last 11 we put out the halfway season, he wouldn't believe you. I think he wouldn't believe you. I just think we have some key injuries that I feel like some people talk about it way too much, but it is something that I think definitely would be changing the scenery a little bit in these run of games that we've lost, in Thomas Partey and Jurriën Timber. I think systematically they would have us kind of functioning a different way, and I think since their injuries, I think Arteta's kind of ran us a little differently and kind of moved players around a little differently. As you saw, as people remember, infamously in the first game of the season, Gabriel didn't play. He was on the bench, and we were kind of running with like a back three. And I'm not saying that that's something we would be probably doing if Timber was here, or Partey for that matter. But I definitely think not having Timber or Partey is huge for this team. I've said this on multiple shows. I think Partey is he's the most unique midfielder in the world. And I think no player can really replicate what he does. And I think he's very underrated as a player. But he's hurt so much that we don't really see what he could do at a consistent level. So I think it definitely goes to question the moves that Arteta has made and the system that he has employed. It has got us this far, but is it kind of run its course? Has the system kind of plateaued? Do we tinker more? Do we put Kai in the 9? Do we put Trossard as the false, the left 8? Do you sit Martinelli? And there's just so many things that we could do and try because we have fallen kind of a little bit out of form. I think a big thing that I'm going to be talking about during the show that a lot of people won't agree with me. I know one person won't agree with me. Is I don't think our attack is a problem. I think our finishing is a problem, which to me are two completely different things. And I think that's something that I think we'll talk more and more about as the show progresses.
That's the longest title I ever heard in my life.
We definitely will be talking more about
Glenn, do you not listen to me? The title was How Much Tinkering is Too Much Tinkering.
I know, but
that's not long.
You didn't
I'm sorry, Glenn. I like to explain myself. Go, Glenn, go. These one-word cockamamie answers. Go.
No, I need to say something.
I need 10 seconds.
Did you forget your title, Glenn? You should probably write it down.
I should write it down because I forget shit all the time. Now this is it. This is a title for a movie based on Arsenal's first half of the season. How to be the most unstable fan base in football. That's it. And it's self-explanatory. So now you can go, BG. There's your 10 seconds.
No, I wanted. Okay.
That's the title. That's the thing number one on my mind. We're in a title race. I'm sick and tired. I can't even go on social media. All these people I respect are going insane.
Okay. Decent little segue into kind of hopefully getting into the meat of what I know you guys, I know you both have a lot to say, when I get there. So a decent little segue for Glenn here. So you looking at recent form, you still believe, I shouldn't say still, you still believe that this is a title race, that we're still in this thing, that you know what? I'm going to ask you. You still genuinely believe that we are in a title race?
Absolutely. Easily.
I think if you don't, you're just.
You're really
And Tanner, if you believe that, you're nuts.
I'm going to stun both.
No, it's not. This is a psychological, guys. This is a psychological thing. I think I follow some people you don't. And they are rational, down-to-earth people, and they're panicking. So don't call names. It's people are just losing their minds. I think we're like Pavlov's dog. We got hit too many times by Arsenal in this shit. That's it. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Glenn, that's so funny. That's like the perfect, I think, explanation of Twitter, especially after our current form. Everyone, and even when we're playing well or, we're winning games, people are just waiting for you to shoot a drop. Like, okay, we're gonna bottle it somehow. We're gonna go on a form. We're gonna do what we've been doing. Losing 3 games in a row. It's just it's insane, and it sucks because I'm like that, and I can't help it. It's just how I am. I'm always waiting for us to hit another snag, to hit another obstacle. It's tough. It's tough because we, after finishing back to back in 8th place. We kind of raised the bar immensely when we finished in 2nd place last season, and in doing so, people just we can't drop anything. We can't lose points. We can't kind of lose 2 in a row because then people kind of go back to that 8th place and that fight for the Champions League spots. But not every team's going to be perfect, and as good as this is going to be, people aren't going to like to hear this, but as good as football as we're playing, because we are playing good football. We'll talk about that as the show goes on. I just think that these things are going to happen. We're not going to be perfect. We're going to lose points. We're going to drop games. It's just any team's going to do that. Even Man City, Liverpool.
I totally agree with everything that Ryan just said, so I'm a little worried. BG, before you go, I just wanted to add one thing to what Ryan said. Yeah, I'm like that too. That's why I don't make videos the day of a game or even the day after a game, because There was a point over the last few years where Arsenal were so brilliant that I was confident late in games, but this cold streak has wiped it out. And I was like, I'm like Ryan now, the last couple of games, like, oh, what the fuck is going to go wrong now?
I haven't been like I'm like that all the time. It's not even just
Oh,
recently.
okay.
Every game, I'm just
Even when we're going great.
even when we're going great, even when we're losing, I'm just like I know things aren't going to be perfect. I know we're not. I mean, like that's with anything. Like no team in any sport is going to. I mean, it's happened, but no team in any sport is just going to win every. Well, yeah, no team is going to win every single game. You have you have the Invincibles, but I mean, just winning every game and not putting a foot wrong for I guess we'll talk about
if
the
there was
Premier League for 38 straight games. It's just there's always something you can improve on, especially nowadays with the way teams are buying.
I can say something right now that every single person that watches this and you guys will agree with. If there was social media for the Invincibles, people would have found a reason to complain. That's all I'm going to say about that.
So I guess it's my turn, and I don't.
I'm
disagree.
dying for you to say Arteta out, so that at least we can have an argument.
No. That's listen, man. I can disagree, and I don't have to jump off a bridge over it, and that's the equivalent of that's cutting off your nose to spite your face at this point.
I think I could speak for Ryan when I say, who are you and what have you done with Tanner?
No, I'm not. I've never been so doom and gloom where it's just blow up everything and I'm not. No. I agree with Ryan on I'm going to go back to something he said before with it's not the system, it's the players not finishing. And I do agree with that. But to put the blame on Arteta with this and to say, okay, like here's what he has to be able to do is he has to see that, okay, what we're doing isn't working. So while, yes, the players are not finishing their dinners, you've got you as the manager, okay, have to do something else. So you can't just look at the situation and say, okay, well, it's the players. Players score, we're not talking about this. Sure, but you're the manager. It's your job to get them scoring. So if they're not scoring with what you're doing right now, then you've got to change something up. And how many times have I said we play so well in the first 2/3? When we get to that final third, we are bereft of ideas. Yeah, I've been reading the dictionary. It really does go back to, it's not the horseshoe of death that we've talked about on this show before, but it is now predictability. Saka gets the ball down the right. Ben White is going to overlap, but Ben White's not going to get the ball because Saka's going to slow up, he's going to stop, and he's going to cut to the middle. And he's going to try to get a shot off on his left foot with 5 guys in front of him. I'm exaggerating a little bit. Martinelli really is the only guy that I can honestly say I don't know what he's going to do.
He needs a rest.
Here's the problem with Martinelli. More often than not this season, I don't think he knows what he's going to do either. And I think his feet get working faster than his brain, and he ends up dribbling himself into problems and then dribbling himself out of possession. It is not all doom and gloom. We are in a title race. I agree with that. I believe that. A couple of bounces here and there go our way, and I'm going to be the ultimate optimist right now. And I've been thinking of how to word this because I wanted to tweet it out. But imagine a world where Thomas Partey is healthy, coming back from Dubai. Let's just say he's not up to speed on playing a full 90, but I've said this for a year and a half now. I don't want him to play a full 90. Less is more.
You've
with
been
Thomas
saying
Partey.
that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Coming back right now, give him a half hour. Give him a half hour. If he is cleared to play coming back from Dubai, no, don't start him. Don't start him. Glenn, write your thought down so you remember it. Don't start him.
I hope there's
Bring
a
him,
notepad behind that.
bring him on at the 60-minute mark. And you know what? Thomas Partey, as Ryan has said, and I am coming around to this because when he's fit and he's playing in his position and he's playing his role, not playing right back and trying to then drift inside, when he's playing his position and handling his responsibilities, there may not be a better midfielder in the world, including Declan Rice, that is better suited for what Mikel Arteta wants this team to do.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ignore that last part and go back to Partey because we agree.
No. I'm saying that I think Thomas Partey is the best midfielder in the world for what Arteta and this team, for what Arteta wants to do. And I'm saying I'm including Declan Rice in all of the midfielders in the world, and I still think Thomas Partey is the best option we have, or the best option there is.
For the system, Glenn, not just the best midfielder in the world, just for the
right
system.
for the system. Yeah.
All
Glenn,
right.
go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say I got to watch not another Arsenal podcast last night, and
Shout out Mikey Hurst.
It was a great show last night.
It really was.
I want to repeat. I want to repeat
so
something I wrote. If you keep talking, I'm going to forget what I was going to say. There, now you did
Give
it.
Mike a shout out.
So on their show in the comments section, I wrote, "We're not getting any major transfers. Timber and Partey are going to Dubai to practice, and that's our major additions for January." But the other thing I wrote was until February when Partey gets hurt. I have come around to your guys thinking that I hope we get a striker. And there's that one guy, Mayoral. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but like every media outlet has picked that up. And that's the only reason I might believe it. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Most of the striker talk that we're being linked with, like with Zerke and not a striker, the midfielder, but it's all agent talk. I haven't really trusted anything yet. The only thing actually I do trust is I do think Palace is in for Eddie, which is the opposite side of things. But
So interesting, and I'll paraphrase. I actually 5 minutes before we came on the air, David Ornstein basically has said that Arsenal at this moment are not in a great financial position to make a move in January. While he says he is not expecting there to be anything, there will be there. He's not expecting an incoming without an outgoing to try to make the finances work on this.
Can I ask you guys a question about that? Because I don't know this rule, and maybe someone in the comments can answer it if you guys don't know. Tierney's out on loan. Can we sell that motherfucker right now? Or do we have to wait?
I forgot about that.
Here we go.
I'm just asking. Oh, did I? I think I said a bad word. I mean, can we sell Tierney while he's out on loan? That's what I wanted to ask. I agree with you. We're going to wind up getting a points deduction unless we sell some of this dead weight and treacherous people from Scotland.
I would say the loan would have to be terminated. He would have to be brought back to the club and then subsequently sold because
we can get 20 million. We can get 20 million for him.
Pretty sure the loan agreement is for a year. So, I mean, even to bring him back, the loan agreement for anything to happen with Kieran Tierney, the loan agreement has to be terminated.
Okay. Thank you for answering.
There's no option for Real Sociedad, right? It's just a straight loan.
No,
right?
I think it's just a straight loan. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
I'm going to say this, and this will. Ryan, if you recall, I asked this question a while back when we would do a Tuesday evening show. I don't know if you'll remember me asking this or not, but I got lambasted for even posing the question. I didn't get lambasted for posing the question. My answer, people were like, "Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?" I will say this. Now, I am not. This is crystal ball. I can predict the future, or I know the future. Imagine, as I started to say before, imagine we get healthy. Imagine, again, Thomas Partey can come back and he can stay healthy till the end of the year. And Jurrien Timber will come back. By the way, sidebar, anyone who thinks that Jurrien Timber is going to be back by the end of the month, you have a better chance of shitting the moon, like literally sitting down on your toilet and the moon coming out of your rear end. There's a better chance of that happening. Urian Timber at the earliest will come back, if he comes back at all this season.
Yeah, I don't even think he comes back.
Okay.
The earliest is, hang on, Glenn. The earliest is April. And at that point, it's probably mid to end April. And I don't really want him to come back. Focus on rehab, get the knee stronger, get the ligament stronger, get a full season or get a full summer of training, and just focus on being back next year. That's it. Now, Urian Timber had a great preseason. He looked like he fit like a glove in this system. The reality is he played one half of meaningful football for this club, and everyone in this fan base is anointing him as Lee Dixon. Pump the brakes. I like Urian Timber a lot, and my expectations of him are super high. But let's pump the brakes on all of this just for a moment, okay? To finish my thought real quick, Glenn, Thomas Partee comes back. We know how important he is. ESR, finding his way into the rotation, whether it be as a starter or as a sub, coming on, again, go back to Mikel Arteta's and timing with his subs. Make the substitutions at the 60-minute mark, okay? And really start getting some rotation going with these guys so that they all get comfortable playing with each other. And in a perfect world, we can stay healthy, knock on wood, till the end of the season, and we go on the run that we saw City go on at the end of the season last year, that Liverpool probably have in them to go on this season. But just imagine that's us. And again, the night is always darkest just before the dawn. And I fully believe, as the two of you think I'm so, pessimistic and everything, I really do believe that the dawn is coming for this season. And I don't know that we need to make any incomings whatsoever. Glenn, go.
All right. First of all, unless you have a job on the Arsenal medical staff, I will choose to note your Timber opinion and be hopeful that he can come back in the next couple of months. He went to Dubai to train. That's all I know. That gives me a little bit of hope. And I don't remember what else because the sun is shining in my fucking face and I need to put something up to stop it. So can I do that and then I'll come back? Okay, guys? Who's sighing at me?
Who do you
I
think is
can't
sighing?
see through the sunshine. Who the fuck is sighing? Fuck you. I'll be right back.
You did this whole elaborate setup with your name and fire, and there's a fire
I
pit in
forgot what I
front
was
of
going
you.
to fucking say. Shut up.
It is the thing on the back of the laptop that is pretty. That's pretty cool though.
Oh, it's his laptop. I thought that was just like a fucking metal thing.
I think it's.
whatever.
No, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Like a thing you make at shop class, like welding or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah,
There's
you
no
are.
way-
I'll be honest. You're a little more optimistic than I thought you were. I didn't think you were going to be like Arteta out or sell the team or anything like that. But yeah, no, it's definitely. I mean, to be fair too, it's also nice that couple weeks. A week has passed since our game, or maybe not a week, but close to a week has passed since our game. So I had time to kind of reflect, think about it, and also it helps looking at going on Twitter and seeing some of these tweets that are just like, to me, it's like, oh, I thought I was upset, but nah, this guy's lost his marbles, so I think I'm good. So yeah,
I mean, it's hard to look at things and say that it is all doom and gloom, because again, it really does come down to, if we finish some of these chances that we've had, we're in a much different position. And the reality is we're 5 points off the top. City have a game in hand. That's fine. But this is what a title race is. I think it's a 3-team race. I think Villa will stumble here and there to kind of fall back a little bit. Excuse me 1 second.
Villa will be lucky if they're in the top 8. Stop talking about their contender.
No.
Their manager is Unai Emery. They're a
Glenn,
good team.
They're a good team. They're
Glenn,
terrible
they're
away
good.
from home, though.
They're
Undefeated.
but
They're undefeated at home.
Okay. Mark this date or whatever. Fuck it. I'm the
Glenn,
only person.
I'll-
I'm the only person that sees it. Fine. That's not the first time. It's not the first time I'm the only person that sees it.
He's angry. Yeah, now we got him angry, and it took Aston Villa being
Glenn is Twitter. If anyone wants to know,
Right.
your Twitter. We're not saying they're going to win the league, Glenn. We're just saying that they're not going. That finishing 8th, I think, is not a smart comment. I think they're gonna. I think they'll be in contention with 4th. They'll probably finish like 5th or 6th.
Not gonna
They're
argue.
really they're undefeated. They're undefeated at Villa Park, but their away form is really bad.
Okay, you know what? It's fruitless when we to argue about this. It's not like we have a fucking time machine. So let's fucking move on. I banged my fucking finger with the hammer, so I'm in a bad fucking mood right now.
Oh, good. You kissed a boo boo.
I'm gonna fucking kick your ass.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, that's right. I live in Connecticut.
Just I just want to point this out that when we did our
fingers
season
killing me.
preview show, my big surprise was that Aston Villa was going to finish top 4.
Season's still young. Not over yet. It's halfway through.
Season is halfway done, and Aston Villa are in 2nd place, and they are 3 points clear of 5th.
Okay.
So
We'll see.
Okay.
They are dog shit away from home, and I'll tell you what.
So
and let me say, there are a couple of games on our schedule coming up in the second half of this season that I have marked with an asterisk because it's like we won't do this because it's not how we play. But boy, this is one of those. This is like Villa and Newcastle are the 2 games marked that like go put a forearm shiver into the small of someone's back in those games. Like they are public enemies 2 and 3 for me at this point.
Okay.
But
I just want to say that you guys did not rub it in with that sickening, treacherous Tierney and how wrong I was about him. So when Villa finish
he's not going to give this up.
When Villa finish in 8th, I will not rub it into you guys for you not rubbing in what an absolute dickhead Kieran Tierney is.
Boy, the Glenn, the floor is yours. The Kieran Tierney thing, get it off your chest. Let's go because you keep coming back to this.
Real quick for people that didn't notice, it's not Twitter anymore, so I don't know what you call it. I tweeted this article where Tierney said, I wouldn't want to go back to the Premier League. The Arsenal fans were great, but here the fans start singing from the beginning of the game till the end. I don't want to leave here. The very next day I see Arteta say, yeah, we're going to sell him. Maybe he wouldn't have come back, but he wasn't even willing to help. Get the fuck out of here, you treacherous motherfucker. I can't believe I made a video about you when we got you. I can't believe I stuck up for you. I can't believe in one of my videos a couple months ago, I made a joke about longing for you like the fucking Titanic movie. Fuck you. That's why. Because he didn't even give us a chance to say, you know what, we're going to recall that loan. He said, I like the way they sing. You stupid fucking traitor. I hope he sees this somehow. Asshole.
Kieran Tierney is gonna beat your ass.
Look, I'm going to the UK next week, and if I see him, I'll be like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah, you will be. Yeah, you will be.
But seriously, guys, he was my favorite fucking player. You guys know that, and anybody that watches this show once knew that. And for him to say, "Yeah, the way they single game," fuck you, dickhead.
Dude, he's really like.
I felt like
it's not even that he's yelling.
It felt like did you guys ever get a Dear John letter from a chick you were into? That's the way it felt. I was like, motherfucker, I defended you.
The fuck is a Dear John letter?
I'm sorry. That's probably old fart stuff when a girl would write to you to break up with her.
Oh.
That's what a Dear John letter. You know what that comes from? That comes from World War II. Not that I was in World War II. I'm just saying.
It's
you carried the water. You carried the water.
Yeah, I was a runner with Hitler. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. All right.
Okay,
Boy,
Glenn.
we are getting
You guys are
told
being
to
you guys
not-
are being total dicks.
I
I'm
didn't say
not.
anything. I wrote the Dear John letters.
I'm sorry, I thought Dear John was still a word you could use.
Two
You're
words,
lucky
right?
I don't
It's two
sign
words.
off saying 23 skidoo when we're done.
23 skidoo.
I don't know. I don't know.
Guys, you're gonna lose the last 12 viewers or whatever. Back to Arsenal.
I wonder, Glenn, have you switched your weed?
No, it's not that. You guys know I sent you guys a million texts about how
Yes,
much I
you
hate
did.
Tierney. You guys know this isn't like, I just smoked some weed before the show. I have felt this way forever. And since I don't have any life except, because I'm married with kids, note that, Ryan. I don't have anyone to express this to except Twitter X or YouTube. So when I have live people in front of me, like you guys and whoever the three people are in comments, I explode verbally because it's all I'm holding it all in. Tierney was the shit, man. And he didn't even give us a chance to think, should we get Tierney back? Oh, wait, he likes the way they sing.
I feel like he needed this.
I did need it.
I didn't want to interrupt him. I want to, but I didn't.
I really, guys, that felt good. Do I owe you for therapy?
You might.
Well, go.
You might. No, I'm kidding.
What a dick.
I'm not. I don't know. Ryan, do you have anything to add on the Kieran Tierney?
I won't argue with you guys.
I don't have any.
No, I kind of want to let Glenn live in his little fantasy world a little bit. But what I will say, we want to recall Kieran Tierney in January. He doesn't have a say. He's coming back.
Yeah, but what he said.
He could say
Arteta...
he could say fuck Arteta, fuck this, fuck E. If Arsenal Football Club want to recall Kieran Tierney from Real Sociedad, he's coming back.
All right,
it was never in the plans. I know injuries are kind of a thing. Zinchenko with his calf, Tomiyasu. I don't know what his deal is, but he's on and off the injury table. Timber's obviously not here. But I don't think we were ever gonna recall Tierney, and I didn't see that Arteta said we were gonna sell Tierney, although that is definitely what's gonna happen. I didn't hear Arteta actually say that, but whatever. I mean, it's a. I wish Tierney was still a part of our team. I don't know what. I mean,
doesn't
we would
help
have to then. What?
I'm sorry. It doesn't help that I see Kivior heading into our goal either. That exasperates it too for me. I'm like,
I guess you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
In my opinion, I think Kivior is a center back that can play left back, not a left back.
That's a fair excuse. That's a fair excuse.
I think
how do you think I felt seeing that? I'm the guy over here beating the Kivior drum. He should have been playing left back. Over Zinchenko, and then he pulls that card.
I really like Kivior, but I think even before his own goal, I think the last couple of games he's played for us, in playing left back, he can't do the Zinchenko role. He's not really a left back in this Arteta system. I think he's athletic. I think he's got a decent, range of passing.
Thank you, Matthew.
So I see what Arteta was saying. Or what Arteta was thinking of having him play left back. But I just, at the end of the day, if we want, again, I think just moving the bar, going to because there's levels to this. There's always going to be levels to this. As a football club, we're always going to be pushing that level and raising the bar. And if we want to raise the bar and winning Premier League, winning Champions League, Kivior, I don't see a future with Kivior as our left back. However, I really see him as a backup to Gabriel and Saliba for sure. I think he'd be phenomenal. I think he's a phenomenal center back. I really do. But you hear all these things about how he's not happy with his playing time, and he's got an offer from AC Milan, and I have a feeling we're going to be selling him at the end of the season. But I mean, it's.
I just want to clarify what I said one more time, because first of all, you people in the comments are awesome. My thing with Tierney is, all right, if we say we got another, say Kivior went down, okay, or whatever, he didn't even give us the option to, say we're going to have him back on loan because of what he said. I mean, it's like when Ramsdale's dad went to the teacher and said, "What do you got against my son?" Now he doesn't play anymore. You can't fucking piss off Arteta, and this pissed me off when he said it. So my point is, he didn't even give us the option to think about it. I agree with you, people. Someone said he doesn't know how to invert. That's right. That's why he fucking went out on loan. I understand all that, but he didn't even give us the option. That's all I'm saying. He didn't even give us the option.
Glenn, how do you know? How do you know that?
Said he'd rather stay there and listen to the fucking fans sing.
But when he made those comments, he might have been told from Arsenal.
He was asked,
"We're not
would you
recalling
go
you."
back to Arsenal? And he said, I want to stay here. He was asked directly. I wouldn't just make this up in my head.
But the day before he said those things, Arsenal could have rang him and been like, "Yeah, we're not recalling you. You're not coming back. We don't need you," or whatever he said. So in the back of his head, when he made those comments, he might have already said, "Well, doesn't matter. I'm not going back regardless. So here, I'm going to talk about how much I love Real Sociedad." And then going back to Matthew De Souza's comment, players say stuff all the time in interviews. You know, they're always going to big up the team that they're on. You know, on loan, they're always going to say it. That's just how interviews go. So
you don't have to say you don't want to go back. You can just say, I love it here. Look, your scenario, okay? You always do this, and I'm gonna entertain it this time. All right, your scenario makes me wrong, but I don't know that. All I know is what I saw directly from the player's mouth, and then Arteta's quote the next. That's all I know. So you could be right. They could have said, "Hey, we're gonna sell you," okay? And then he says all that. You know, the next day. But
I also think when we loaned him out to Real Sociedad initially, I think he knew the writing was on. I think he already knew, like, okay, like we're loaning him out because
I didn't think he was coming back.
Newcastle didn't want you anymore because Newcastle were going to buy him. Everyone was in, you know, all the reports saying Newcastle were, you know, yeah, thanks. We are going to move on, but you know, the reports were in that Trini was going to go. So I think Glenn, you should just once he got loaned out to Real Sociedad, you should have known. Okay, I'm not seeing Tierney anymore.
That's the way I
think you overreacting is a little.
No, it's not overreacting. You're being subjective.
Glenn, it is. Once he went on loan to Real Sociedad, you should have been like, okay, he's not coming back.
All right, let's see what happens.
We tried to sell Newcastle. We couldn't sell him.
Let's see how you react when they fuck Reece Nelson, okay? Now, can we move on to Jesus, the man who says goal scoring is not my fucking strength? Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Let's talk about Reece Nelson because they already are fucking Reece Nelson right now.
Oh, did I say Reece Nelson? I meant your guy, the guy you have a shirt of. That's what I meant to say.
How many?
No, ESR. They're gonna fuck him. They are gonna fuck him.
They're fucking him right now again.
Reece Nelson's ahead of him on the fucking depth chart.
Let's just do a 2-hour show. We'll do the first hour.
All right. Let's get to Jesus.
The second hour can be ESR.
I like the idea of getting this mayoral guy. Let's get to Jesus because Jesus isn't doing it and Kedia isn't doing it. We need some more pressure on those two to get their fucking shit together. We're not getting some $50 million fucking dollar striker unless we sell somebody.
Ryan.
Whoa, it's hot here.
Very. You see? Can you see the flames?
Yeah. I see.
coming from Glenn.
That's really actually coming from my ass.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's fucking cold out here. Hi. Go ahead. Go talk.
How you doing, man?
Doing all right till these guys get me going.
Yeah, they got you going, didn't they?
What do you want to do about the striker situation?
Oh boy. I mean, I don't think we can't buy anyone, right? So we kind of have to deal with what we have for now, right?
I guess, unless
I mean, I don't know.
The rumor is that we're pretty much up against it in terms of financial fair play. So there would have to be some outgoings to raise the funds to be able to make any kind of incomings. So I guess let me ask you a different question, Brian. How do you feel if the team can just get healthy?
Yeah, I mean, I would love that, but can they stay healthy?
What a great question.
That's been the thing. So yeah.
Well, the question is, if we can just get healthy and keep everyone healthy, do we need to bring anyone in January?
I mean, here's the thing. I think that if we can get healthy, I feel good about what we have, because I think that we are creating and we are having very, very, very unlucky run in front of goal. And now I know that's I'm sure people are sick of hearing that, right? Because I'm sure you guys have seen all the stats doing the rounds. We're getting the opportunities, but when it's Aston Villa and it's West Ham and it's Liverpool, it's getting old. So obviously people are saying like, yeah, we're creating chances, but no one's taking them. So I know that that's frustrating, and that would obviously lead most people to believe that we need someone to take their chances, right? I just can't believe we're sitting here looking at the output that we have, which is crazy. I mean, we're looking at Martinelli 2 goals. I mean, it's just I can't believe it. So I mean, I personally don't think we have the money. So I don't think that we even need to discuss like who we can bring in, because it's just not happening. So I think we just need to hopefully get everyone healthy, and that'll change it. And I mean, and I know we've obviously talked about it too, and I'm sure you guys have, but I think if Thomas Partey's actually healthy, that's going to be the biggest thing for me, because I still think, and we talked about this before the season started, I still think he's our best midfielder. And I know Declan Rice has been amazing. I can't say anything bad about him. He's been unbelievable. But I think with Thomas Partey in there, those are the line breaking passes, the reverse balls that we need to actually unlock a defense and maybe have even more chances, or chances where we're not trying to break down these low blocks. At least that's what I remember from last season, is, he was the one putting those balls through that were creating maybe better chances, if you will. But that's the biggest thing for me. If he's healthy and he can play, I just need 4 or 5 months from him, and then he can fuck off after that.
That was great delivery.
After that.
Oh my God, what a great delivery!
Our best midfield is Odegaard, Rice, and Partey. I mean, I don't think that's a shock to anybody. And we still haven't seen it yet. We need to see it, and it's crazy too, because like you said, Rice has been playing well. Rice is probably, I don't think anyone can argue, but Rice is definitely player of the season so far.
Yeah.
And we're still in the title chase. We could still do amazing things in the Champions League. And Rice is, to me, he's easily our best player. But still, I think just Partey is just a better, player in this 11 that Arteta is managing.
I can't disagree with either of those two. Would you guys, though, would you go out and get that if we can get him? Like that kid for 25 million, I think it was 20 million. I don't remember. They want 35 million. We offered 20 million. They said no. Would you guys try to get a striker, Ryans, to push Eddie and Jesus, because they are driving me fucking bananas, and every other Arsenal fan?
You go first, Ryan. I have a long answer.
Okay, I have a short answer. My answer is no. Like,
okay.
I don't think this kid's gonna come in and be what we need. I mean, we know our system is complex. It takes time to bed in. Like, we don't have time. And the moment that he's starting over Jesus or whatever, and he shits the bed, we're all gonna freak out and be like, well, if it's Jesus or whatever, and he's not linking up, like, it's no.
You're talking me out of it now.
I hate
because it's true.
I hate to say that, because I think, okay, so I didn't want this to be a long answer, but I'm gonna try and pair everything together. So I think Elliot, he just Arsenal Vision just did a podcast about this today, I think, and he brought someone on, and he talked about, I think we're frustrated because we see an opportunity. I don't think a lot, we're seeing De Bruyne out for most of the season, all the season. Haaland's missing games. We don't think Liverpool is really that great. Can they hold on with all these games coming up? So I think we're frustrated that we don't have a lead or a bigger lead. With all that being said, and when you're chasing and we're not chasing, but when you're trying to beat Man City to a title, you just can't be slipping up. And I think that because all the poor games that we've had and, unfortunate losses that we've had, I think people are freaking out that, like, well, if we don't do something now, just wrap it up, title's over, we're not going to have a chance. We're already 5 points back. If we don't do something now, just hang it up. So I think we're really worried about that idea. So I get why people are panicking and saying, just fucking do something. but I just don't think that whatever we can do with the financial aspects in it is not going to be what we're looking for to be the piece that pushes us over the edge. We're not getting Osimhen. We're not getting, any of these guys in this window. And I don't think some youngster for $25 million is going to be the piece that brings it all together, in my opinion. So, no.
Okay, so my answer was not going to be that long. Regardless, anyways, no, I don't. So, all right. So two things. Well, I first said a couple weeks ago that the only striker I want is Osimhen from Napoli, and that kind of still holds true. But at the end of the day, the only striker that I want us to bring in is a striker to replace Gabriel Jesus, not to replace Eddie Nketiah. We don't, part of me thinks that Gabriel Jesus really, realistically, over a long stretch of an entire season, I don't think he would win us the Premier League and the Champions League by starting at a 9. I think he could help. I think he did a really good job helping us get here. But again, I want to lift the bar a little bit. We need someone better than Gabriel Jesus. But for not even that reason, I just think that, the more that we're recruiting now, we're over that hump of we want to get that young talent. We want to bring in all the youngsters and really build with the youngest team in the Premier League. I think that's over. I think now the players that we're really going to buy from now on are going to be players that are replacing players that we love and players that are in the starting 11 week in, week out, and having them fight. Obviously, in January, you'll see us throw 5 million, 10 million at a 17-year-old from Brazil, or Poland or somewhere in Europe, for the academy and to join the team in a few seasons. But where I don't see us spending 20, 30 million on a striker from he's in Spain, or he's in Getafe. Where is that where he is? I don't know. But I just think if we're bringing a striker and the only person we bring in is someone to replace Gabriel Jesus, and I think that only that player for our system is going to be Osimhen. I know a lot of people talked about my Stuttgart and Girassi, who's the current striker there, and he's got 17 goals in 14 games. He's breaking records in the Bundesliga. I think he's playing really well. I think he's the type of player we could really go after. But I don't know if he's going to really keep that form. He's in a purple patch. He's in a good run of form. I think he's a fantastic player, but for where we want to go, I don't know if he can hold it and be consistent for such a good time. And also, I'm going to be honest, I don't want to leave Stuttgart because I love Stuttgart. Obviously, I'm a big Arsenal fan. I would say I'm definitely more of an Arsenal fan, but seeing Stuttgart, hold firm second and third place in the Bundesliga and potential Champions League is amazing. And he's being linked to Man U and Tottenham, so fuck them. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we'd spend 20, 30 million striker. I think that's really dumb, and I don't think we're going to. Yeah. I think we're gonna pull a Declan Rice in the summer, Osimhen or someone crazy. But the only person I see that could really be our Declan Rice forward is going to be Osimhen from Napoli.
I just wanted to say one of my favorite parts of the season. This was brilliant. Some Arsenal fan did a Kickstarter to give West Ham more money, so we underpaid for him. Anyway, go ahead. That's it. You guys didn't hear about that? Everybody.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The thing for me is I said it at the beginning of the season, and I still believe this, that the squad as currently constructed is good enough to win the league. Good enough to win Champions League? That I'm not sure about. But
I think we can if we give up, but we'd have to kind of sacrifice a little bit in the Premier League.
Well,
whether other teams dropping points, maybe we could still win. We can win both, but I don't think we could run at 110% in both Champions League and Premier League and win both. I don't think we have a squad to do it.
I agree with Demsek 110%. Every attacker that we have, they're all in a very bad stretch of form right now at the same time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is it's rare. That is rare. And they're all, as we said the last time we convened here, Ryan and Glenn, and I made the hockey now. They're gripping the stick too tight. They're gripping the bat too tight. They're, but that being said, to use a basketball reference, and I said this, is you have to keep shooting. The only way to get yourself out of a slump is to shoot your way out of it. From that's, to use a basketball reference. So these guys they've got to keep kicking the ball at the goal. They've got to keep trying to get the shots off. And when they see it go in, and they see 2 go in and a third, then the floodgates are going to start to open a little bit. Proverbially speaking, the floodgates will open. And we're going to see these chances that just seem to find their way to the woodwork, or to a stray pinky toe and deflect high over the bar, or they deflect out for a corner. Those are going to start to go in. That little pinky toe isn't going to be there anymore, and it's like Demsek said, it's rare that it happens to everyone at the same time. And that's where we are.
I have to say something, because we're coming on the top of the hour, and that means my phone will go off anytime from 4 p.m. Eastern on. I agree with everything you guys are saying. And this will count as my final statement too. What really floors me and what really got me going, the last video I made was top of the table at Christmas. Okay. And I'm sorry I haven't made another one. And then we did a Wile E. Coyote off a cliff. Now, we usually do this in the last 2 months of the season. We're doing it now. We're in a title race, but there's a whole generation of Arsenal fans that have not seen a real title race. And they're just panicking because it's that thing of what we talked about earlier with Pavlov's dog, where everybody was just beaten to death with disappointment by this fucking team that we love so much. So we all just need to take a breath. All right. Mo Salah's out for a couple months, I think. There's no easy games in the Premier League. We've proved that in this slide, but we're going to right the ship. Patience is a virtue, and I think that virtue is lost on about half of Arsenal supporters.
I agree.
That would be me.
I agree with what Glenn said, but I don't know if like Glenn said earlier in the show, I don't have a fucking time machine, so I don't know if we're gonna right the ship. I am worried about a few players that are playing through injury: Saka, Ben White, and Demsek also put it up in the chat. I think Ben White and Saka's relationship on the pitch kind of has hit like a roadblock, because I think they're both battling injuries. Saka's not scoring; he's not playing well. I think it's tough. I think we really need to manage these injuries, and I don't like. I listen. I've never been a professional footballer, nor do I claim to be. But I don't know. I don't understand these players playing through injuries like this. I don't think it's going to be good for the players in the long term. It's not going to be good for us in the long term. And I think some of these players need a seat. And I'm not saying we have someone of Saka's quality on the bench. We don't, or Ben White's quality on the bench. But we have players that can play the position and play the system. And I'm at the point now, and people will disagree with me, and that's fine. But I'd rather have Reece Nelson play, a fully fit Reece Nelson, than a Saka who's blown out of his ass. He's tired and he's battling an Achilles injury. We re-signed Reece Nelson for a reason. Oh, so we didn't lose him for free. Well, we're tanking his value by not playing him. When you re-sign players and you bring players into the fold, you have these big extensions, or just, I guess in Reece is just re-signing him. You need to play him. Like, the fact he's not playing more meaningful minutes, it just doesn't make sense. Same with DSR. I know Vieira's hurt, but we just have a lot of players who are just not getting enough minutes, and it's gonna.
Whoever did that, if you're trying to kill me, you almost did it.
Market just closed.
I thought that was Glenn's new.
No, I wouldn't do that to you.
Market just closed.
When you see me fidgeting, that's when I feel you went too long. When I'm doing this and I'm raising my hand and I want to talk next, that's when you're talking too long, like I was just doing. Real quick, I'm not going to argue with anything you would do as manager, fake Ryan. I just want to push back on what you said in the beginning, which is you see the defenders jabbering at each other on the field, and you automatically assume they don't like each other, they don't get along.
When did I say that?
You just fucking said it.
I didn't say that. I did not.
You
say
said
that.
He obviously has a problem. If someone tunes into this show for the first fucking time and sees you and me talking, they'd be like, "Wow, those fuckers hate each other." No, We just don't like each other. The point
Glenn,
is,
I was talking about the relationship of Ben White and Saka. I didn't bring up any defenders.
you were talking about, you saw them jabbing each other on the, oh my God.
No, I didn't
need
say
an
that.
instant
You're making stuff
replay.
up.
Was that you talking about Gabrielle and Rice?
Yes.
Okay. I remember that.
Rice or Gabrielle the entire time I was talking, Glenn. Just so you tune me out, which hurts my feelings.
Sorry. Go ahead, guys. I'm on borrowed time now. It's 4:01.
All right, so shush. Let's
Stop!
answers.
Maybe you get another half hour out of this.
I'm shutting up. Go.
I don't even know where to go from here. Glenn's over here putting words in Ryan's mouth.
What? No,
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't.
wild.
He said they were arguing on the pitch or whatever.
I didn't say no. I did. I said the relationship with Ben White and Saka has been not great because they're both carrying injuries.
Yes.
I'm not talking about. I said nothing
Is that
about
what
yelling
you
and
said?
arguing. I
This-
never brought up Rice. I never brought up Gabrielle.
So
Wow.
this,
I said
this
I'd
goes
play,
back
I'd rather play a
to
fully fit Reece Nelson over Saka, who has not played well in the last couple games, and he's dealing with an injury, and I think he just needs a rest. And
I think
I
Martinelli
know the
needs
whole
more-
argument where some players, there's this thing where some players, like, if you give them a rest and you don't play them for a game, that's almost as worse as if they get injured, because they need that steady, consistent run of games. I get that, but there's a reason why the players that don't play in the games, they do like a mini training session after the game. They call it like a warming down.
Yeah.
Soccer can do that. Give him instead of playing him, against Crystal Palace, fucking make him train before and after the game. Like, what? I just don't understand. I just don't understand why we're just. That's my biggest problem with that.
Ryan,
We're just
this
constantly
goes-
plugging
this-
away, plugging away.
this goes
So,
back to
I'm
a
done.
point that we made last season and a point that we made at the end of last season when we did sort of our season wrap-up show. Ultimately, what this boils down to is Arteta just simply doesn't trust the players that he has on his bench. He has his preferred 11, and the only reason that he ever tinkers with that preferred 11 is to try something new with a player in the 11 moving somewhere else. For example, Thomas Partey starting at right back inexplicably. And that's, back to Ryan saying it, when does it become too much tinkering?
It
So-
supposedly wasn't a right back, a full right back. He was playing some kind of crazy position. I just saw that.
Ultimately, you're in 4 competitions and you want to win every competition. Now, you can prioritize and say, okay, look, if circumstances dictate that we can't play certain players in the League Cup and we have to move in a different direction, we can sacrifice the League Cup. But now we're out of the FA Cup as well after one. It's fine. I just go fuck myself then. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I heard the alarm or whatever that was.
Yeah, right.
You think she puts a dog collar on Glenn when he's not on the show?
I just want to know why. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to sit here.
No, we're done. We're not. Keep going.
Yeah. For me, it ultimately it boils down to this is where Arteta has to learn. These players on your bench, ESR, Reece Nelson, Jorginho to a degree, although I think he's been worth the $12 million that we paid for him.
Yeah.
These players can do a job, but you bringing them on in the 87th minute, what good does that do? That doesn't give them that's their warm-up.
That was probably the maddest I've been in quite some time. I mean, the Fulham game was really bad, but
yeah,
seeing Liverpool not wanting to win this game, bringing on 2 academy players when it was still 0-0, and then we end up bringing on, ESR and Trossard in the 87th minute, more down 1-0. It's just that's beyond frustrating. And I think going back to, I think we're kind of ping-ponging back and forth. I think I could say, let's see, Trossard, ESR, Vieira, Reece Nelson. Sure, I can even probably a few more, but off the top of my head, I don't think us 3 can agree on their best position for us. I don't really have a position in this team. Trossard is probably first off the bench. Yeah, I want to see ESR get more minutes. Vieira, he's hurt. I get that. And Reece Nelson has that, tendency to score meaningful goals when they matter most. But I can't tell you their best position. I can't tell you Trossard comes on for Saka. Reese Nelson goes on for Martinelli. I can't tell you that. I don't know where they belong.
But see,
And to me, if we're trying to build this team and have the depth that we want to do, and tinkering like we're doing because we want to have different options for different games for injuries or for just horses for courses, we need to have these players and we need to know where they tick best in this beating heart because it's not working and we need to figure something out. And we're not scoring goals. Can Trossard help? Can ESR help? I think they can, but apparently Arteta doesn't think so. So I mean, I'm nervous because whereas I think, and I'm going to make another statement that people don't agree with, but I only think we've played one bad game the entire season. If you can count League Cup, you count FA Cup, Champions League. We played only one bad game all season, and that was against Fulham. And I think every other game we've dominated, we've controlled. We just can't put the ball in the back of the net. And obviously, that's a big. It's definitely a problem because that's like the main goal of football and the main goal of the game is to score goals. And that's also the most exciting thing. That's what people go to see. A good. I would like to think we're more of the mindset of Bukayo Saka than Socrates, where he makes a big defensive play, he celebrates like he scored a goal. I mean, yeah, sure, those are great, but at the end of the day, it doesn't win you games. Putting goals in the back of the net is. So I'm concerned. I'm concerned because we're not putting the ball in the back of the net, but we don't have a plan B because there's a lot of players that are on our bench. I don't know where do they fit? Where could they go? And they came on for different players and played in different positions and they haven't got enough meaningful minutes in any of those positions for me to be like, okay, like this is easy. You bring Trossard on for Saka, perfect. Okay, cool. We're gonna bring on ESR for Martinelli, like awesome. Like no, I don't know what to do. And obviously I'm not the manager, so I don't really need to worry about that. But I'm worried about the likes of ESR, Nelson, even Trossard and Vieira for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I look at that group of players that you mentioned and. We've seen Trossard play 9. Seen him play on the wing. Seen him play. I think he's even played left 8, right? For some time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. Like, where's his best spot? Like, there is no natural rotation for those guys, and sometimes, like when you're not getting minutes, you're not really. It's hard to get in form when you're coming on in the 88th, right? Or you're not starting. So I agree with you. I think there's a lot of talent there. And I would love for it to get figured out. But it's just like now we're in a position where it's like we have to win every game. And I think Arteta is too nervous to have I hate to say it, but I don't like to say the word balls, but I think he's too nervous to do it. Like I don't understand why ESR is not playing. Like, is it because I haven't, when he's come on in his short cameos, like I don't understand what he doesn't do that is the reason why he can't get on the field. It's just like stuff like that I can't figure out. If it was like, when we had Pepe, right? He was so good going forward, even though he tried to beat a guy like 100 times before he actually did something. But I knew he was horrible at getting back, tracking his man and stuff like that, just lapses in judgment. That's why you don't play. That's why he got sent out. Like, I can understand stuff like that. With these guys, I don't get it. And it's frustrating because I think we'll need them, especially if we're not going to be buying players, right? Like we said, we're not bringing anybody else in. And I don't think, just ramming that 11 into the ground through Champions League, through the rest of the league, it's not going to work, And now we're hoping, we hope Thomas Partey's back. We hope Tomiyasu's back, after, his, Asian Cup, whenever he comes back from that. I know Timber's playing, but I'm still here. Yeah, okay. I know Timber's in Dubai training. But I mean, as someone who's, I'm not a professional athlete, at all. And I've torn my ACL and I certainly don't get, the treatment those guys get, but I'd be very surprised if he's actually ready to really contribute, in this run-in. Cause I mean, that's a pretty serious injury. And to get back up to speed to like Premier League, Champions League levels, if it can happen, like that'd be crazy. But I'm not banking on that at all. So this is all we got. So I feel like we got to figure something out. And I know there's not games to like tinker with, right? Like it's it. We got league, we got Champions League. I know he's not going to be tinkering the fucking Champions League. I know that for a fact. You know what I mean? Against, now that we're in the, knockout stages, that's not happening. We're 5 points back. We got to win every game that we can in the league. So where are these guys going to get minutes? And I think that, like Ryan was saying, like, I am worried about that legitimately.
Well, it goes back to, again, he's got to trust these guys, and also it becomes a matter of now coming back from the break. Crystal Palace is the first game back.
Right.
I don't want to see if Bukayo Saka is healthy.
Right.
Let me rephrase. Let me start again. If Martinelli is fully healthy, I don't necessarily want to see Reece Nelson start that particular game over Martinelli. Coming back from the break and going up against Crystal Palace at home, I want the 11. I want the 11. If they're healthy and fit, I want them out there.
Right.
The following game is Nottingham Forest away. There's an opportunity, if you ask me, to give Reece Nelson a start. And it's in games like that now, because at this point in time of the season, even if we're still in the FA Cup, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Right. And we want our best 11 more often than not. So in that, you have to look at the league and say, where are you can say there are no easy games, and there aren't any easy games.
Right.
But you have to bite the bullet in some of these matches and say, again, I'm going to use Crystal Palace as an example, but I'm just them as a side, not this particular game. But you've got a Crystal Palace, you've got a Nottingham Forest, you've got a Burnley, you've got a Sheffield United. Those are the games where you say, ESR, here's your opportunity. You're going to start. Reece Nelson, here's your opportunity. You're going to start. And then the guys that they are starting for, bring them in 30 minutes, 25 minutes before final whistle. And that's what Arteta doesn't do. There's zero rotation within the league. And that's early on in the League Cup. Sure, it's great. Give the academy players a run and give the reserves, give them a run out, But you get to this time of the year, and man, it's like you've got to look at the 18. You don't look at the 11, but you got to look at the 18. You got to say, okay, I've got a squad of 18 players. They've got to play. I've got 6 outfield players. I've got 2 goalkeepers. I've got 16 outfield players, and each one of these 16 players has to play. They have to play a role, whether it be getting a half hour every game off the bench, whether it be getting a spot start here and there to give a Martin Odegaard, a Bukayo Saka, a Gabriel Martinelli a rest. Got to do it. Yeah. I know nobody wants to see William Saliba, not start a game, but the fact is, like, he's going to need a break somewhere. Gabriel is going to need a break somewhere, and injuries don't allow that right now. Hopefully we get guys back and healthy. Tomiyasu comes back from the Asia Cup. We can get him, reacclimated back into the side, the whole 9 yards. The rotation thing is on Arteta. The guys not getting the minutes, that is on Arteta. And I don't want to hear this. They're not showing me anything in training. Then if they're not showing you anything in training, why are they getting a shirt on a match day? There is absolutely no explanation under the sun that Arteta can give as to why ESR is getting a cameo appearance for 8 minutes against Liverpool. If you're going to make the change, make the fucking change. Don't wait till the end of the game and say, well, I got to get him on. You know what it is it's the 8-year-old who paid his $30 to play. The coach knows he stinks. He can barely put one foot in front of the other, but he's got to play. All right, come on, kid. Go ahead. Get in there. Go run around and kick the ball a little bit. That's what this is. That's what it seems like. This conversation, the rotation, getting players minutes, that is down to Arteta. And the thing that drives me nuts about that the most, and this is probably the thing that drives me the most crazy about this season and last overall, is that you look at how we play and you look at how we're building the team in the transfer windows and what we're looking for in terms of, profile of player, the versatility. And I'll come back to Ryan's point about not knowing their best position in a minute. This is all Pep Guardiola stuff. It's all Manchester. Well, Pep Guardiola. I'm not going to say it's Pep Guardiola. But the one thing that you can see when you watch Manchester City play or a Pep Guardiola team play is a little bit of rotation in his team. Maybe not game to game, but I would love to see the numbers in all competitions of how often he trots out the same starting 11. How many times in a row in all comps does Pep Guardiola trot out the same starting 11? I don't care if it's one change. I don't care if it's just one simple change. If it's Phil Foden for Kevin De Bruyne against Luton. But that's important. That's an important change. Ryan, real quick to your point about the not knowing the best position. I think that's what he wants. I think that's what they're going for. It's the versatility of, well, maybe he doesn't have one best position. He can play 4 different positions equally well. And I think there might be a problem in there as well, because I think that goes as well to the scoring problem where everybody is thinking about 2 or 3 different things, and there's no one person in this squad. Like, William Saliba's job is defend. I'm not going to use a goalkeeper. It's too obvious. But William Saliba's job is defending. Gabriel Magalhaes' job is defend. Period. Defend. On a set piece, get into the box, hopefully get ahead to it. But beyond that, defend. But there's nobody in this squad who we all look at and say, score, goals. You're the guy to score the goals. I loved this 2 or 3 years ago. I loved looking at it saying, we don't have a 20 to 25 goal scorer in the side because we want to spread the goals out between 4 or 5, maybe even a 6th player. Now, seeing the scoring problems that we have, we have to look to someone to say, your job now is to score goals. Period.
He's in Napoli. He's in Napoli. Well, and I kind of want to go back to Ryan's point on like the obvious substitution for each player, because, you know, Arteta really likes these patterns of play. So if you're Leo Trossard, it's like, well, you know, the link ups that you do at left 8 and left wing and false 9 or whatever, it's different. You know what I mean? So if they don't have a for sure, hey, like when he's flagging, you're going in for Martinelli, or, you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like sometimes it's hard to get any continuity when you're, you know, all over the midfield, all over wherever, to get, you know, a run in of like, hey, like I know when I'm on the field, it's going to be me and this person, we're going to have these patterns going. I feel like it's tough if you're not getting minutes and, you know, they don't really have a position that they go into naturally, which I would love to get figured out, you know? Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's been a frustrating season because I see what Arteta's trying to do and really trying to control these games. And I know Clive has actually brought this up a few times is, you know, a lot of people have talked about how we're so good out of possession and, you know, we're one of the best teams without the ball in the world. I think with that being said, like we can be a little bit more risky and what we're trying to do going forward, because, you know, like what you were saying is like, you know, we're holding the stick too tight. It's almost like the arson days where we're trying to walk the ball into the goal. So we don't have enough of, you know, taking chances. Cause like, well, can we get a better chance? You know, I think it was the last game against Liverpool when Kai Havertz got one that I was like, I cannot believe this man did not hit it first time on the left. And he took another touch, and then what happened? It got blocked.
I remember exactly.
I'm like, are you? I was like, that's crazy that he really thinks that there's a better opportunity than the one where defense is not collapsing on him. There's no one in front of him. Just take the shot. So it's either confidence or, you know, in practice, he's taking it first time, and Arteta's like, no, don't do that. Like, take another touch and have a better whatever, because that's crazy to me that I saw that. I was just like, whoa. And that happens a lot. You know, they brought it up that we do get a lot of shots blocked. That's because we're not taking those first time, you know, it's another touch and another touch, you know, to try and get a better look or maybe play someone, you know, whatever. And I don't think that's helping. Right. So I don't know. We'll see.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Good point. No, the one thing I'm going to say real quick was, yeah, I back to what you were saying about how like, oh, we you don't want teams. We want teams to guess where ESR is going to play. We want teams to guess where Trissard plays. But like, I don't think Arteta knows where they're playing. Like, I get it and I agree. I think we again, it's kind of almost quote Clive from Fanbase. We're doing that a lot today. We play with 11 midfielders.
Yeah.
And I get that, and I like that, and I don't disagree with that. I that's 100% true. But but not knowing where they go into the team, your Trissards, your ESRs, and Vieira's and Nelsons, you need to know how they fit in the cog. You need to know what cog to put to make the system run. And I get it. You want these players to be like Swiss Army knives, and they are. The 11 we have, they do that. It's great, but you're never going to have that 11 every game. It's just everyone's not going to stay healthy. The off chance that a player gets suspended for too many yellows, or they got a red the last game, or just again, I still think that we have players on this team that can start games. Horses for courses. I think knowing where they fit in the team, knowing how, because I know I'm very biased when I say this, but I think there is a place for ESR in this team. I think we haven't unlocked him yet. I think he's better than what he's been showing, but he needs games, and he needs to know where he fits. But his play when he's been coming on has been very good, and I really kind of want to hammer out where he fits in the system, because I don't know where he fits. As much as I think he's gonna take the world by storm in an Arsenal jersey and do wonderful things for us and for the club, I don't know where I want to put him. I don't know where he kind of fits into the system. I don't know where he best plays.
Yeah.
And again, it's he's supposed to play in multiple positions, but like I need to know where he fits going up the field. I need to know where he fits coming back to defend if he needs to, or if he just needs to be an out-and-out striker. Again, same for Nelson. You have all these players, but they need to make their stamp on this team. If not, then sell them. But the problem is we're taking their value so much by not playing them. Who's going to buy them? Or if they do, or if we do sell them, it's not going to be for much. It's not going to really make a dent as far as us gaining money.
Most of any transfer fee that we would get for a lot of these players that we're talking about right now would be based in potential.
Yep.
Would not be based on
right now. I'm actually curious. I'm going to ask you guys this question. Take out all the starting 11 players and focus on the bench. Who do you think we could sell for the most amount of money on our bench right now? Okay. What do you think, Tanner?
Wow.
It's interesting.
Yeah. It's a very good question. I'll agree with Ryan on Ramsdale, but I'm going to try to get a little more creative because, all due respect, I think that's a little bit of low hanging fruit.
I was going to say,
I'll try to.
It was. Ryan, I want someone else only because, I think Ramsdale is a starter. I think this whole goalie situation is very. I mean, I've brought this up multiple times. I think that Ryan was always our first choice, and now that he became available, we were kind of like, all right.
I actually think right now. And not because I think he's playing well. But again, to the players that are on the bench, it would either be, and
it's so funny. I think this answer is so easy, but
I think I'm going to tell you why. I think they would be very, very close in the fee that we could get for them. But I would say either Eddie or Trissard.
I think it's Eddie.
Okay, yeah. To me, obviously, again, just my opinion. I think the obvious answer is Eddie.
Yeah.
Because why? Because we know what Eddie does. We know what Eddie brings to the table. We know when Eddie's coming onto the field, what is he going to do? Thank you, James. Welcome. He wants to score goals. He wants to be that fox in the box. We know what he wants to do. We know when we bring him onto the field, we're saying, hey, okay, we're trying to score. We're trying to get this game back. If we're bringing on Eddie and we're keeping Jesus on the pitch, okay, we're going to play kind of two strikers. We're kind of changing up the formation a little bit. But do you think Eddie's the best player we have on the bench? I would hope you would say no, because I bias, I guess. I think ESR is a better player. I think Reece Nelson's a better player. I think Leandro Trossard's a better player. Now, to be fair, Trossard's a little bit older, so we probably couldn't get as much money for him as Eddie. But I think a lot of it has to do with we just we don't know how they fit into the system, so we kind of can't really play them. But now when we want to sell them, no one wants them because it's like, well, I don't know how they're going to fit into what we, this is other teams talking about. I don't know how they're going to fit into what we have because we don't really know what they play at Arsenal. Whereas like Eddie, it's like, oh, cool, he's a goal scorer. He wants to score goals. He wants the, he's kind of got a little mean spirit in him a little bit, and I think teams could definitely utilize that. And I think Palace is a team that loves that. They like a striker that can kind of be a little like mosquito at the ankles. So I mean, it would be, I don't want to say be nice, but I really hope we can get Eddie for some serious money to Crystal Palace because
what do you say? What's the drop dead price? You'll accept nothing less than.
I'm terrible with money.
35.
I think minimum is got to be like 30.
Yeah,
that's
the number. It's fair too, because I mean, he can score goals. I mean, we've seen it.
This is my take on Eddie, real quick, and I think that a lot of players are like this. I don't think that there really are many players in the world, and I could maybe name you 5. Gun to my head, I could maybe name you 5 that I think could actually do this. But Eddie is not one of these players. I think Eddie needs service behind him in order to get the most out of him. He's not a player that's going to create on his own. He is not a world-class striker. He is not an Erling Haaland. He is not a Kylian Mbappe. He's not a Jude Bellingham. He's not a Mo Salah. He's not that player. But what I'm saying is those guys have and this is going to lead into something and into another point that I wanted to make. But those players can create on their own. Eddie doesn't do that. So Eddie needs to have someone behind him to give him the service to be able to get the most out of him. And that's why and that's where we struggle with him because we don't have the player right now. As much as I love Martin Odegaard, it's just not what's asked of him. He's not asked to be the traditional 10, and I almost feel like that's what Eddie needs behind him is that traditional 10, that playmaker that your job is, hey, score when the opportunity presents itself, but distribute the ball into the little windows that are going to unlock our striker to put the ball in the net. So it almost goes, I think Eddie goes hand in hand with a really, really talented number 10, as much as that position doesn't really exist anymore. But, and Martin Odegaard can be that player, but when you've got Saka and Martinelli and we try to play from the wings, the guy in the middle, it's like, what's your job now? Because we're trying to create and score from the wide areas.
Right.
What's that number 9's role? Are you a decoy? And if you're a decoy, drop back a little bit, not necessarily play a true false 9, but this is why I'm not a football coach because I don't know how to.
It's funny. I completely agree with everything you're saying. I think once we get into the 18, I'd rather have like I think obviously this is impossible, but I think everything building up to us scoring, I want Jesus on the pitch, like everything. Once our boots step on that 18-yard line, wherever the ball is, whether it's on the left side, right side, middle, it doesn't matter. I want to just immediately swap Eddie out for Jesus. I want Eddie in that box. I think it's just what Eddie does, and I agree. I think he needs a more traditional number 10, but I wouldn't even go that far. I just think he's the fox in the box. He's the guy where if we can get that ball into the box, I immediately want Eddie in there. I just think he just knows because that's another thing too. When he's not in the 18-yard box, he doesn't really show.
He doesn't bring anything else.
He doesn't really move defenders around, even though he's a striker. I don't know. He doesn't really offer much. But once we're in that box, I'm like, I'm not saying he is of Salah's level or Haaland's level or any of the world-class strikers level in the box. But I think once we're in the box, I'm like, okay, that's where I want Eddie. That's where he shines the most, obviously.
Yeah.
And funny, that's usually what Jesus is kind of.
But see, Jesus in the box, he
can do it. But,
He can. I mean, he can.
like Cedric.
He can dribble in the phone booth, right? His feet.
I think
Martinelli's
Eddie's got some very underrated touching in the box in a phone. I don't know, in a phone booth esque type of way, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I still
seen that.
again at the end of the day, this is the last time I'm gonna say. I mean, we can still talk about this, but we need a player that's better than both of them combined. If we want to raise our level, because I do think Jesus is a great player. I think he's kind of brought that almost like that Man City mentality to Arsenal. He's raised the bar for us, but I still think we need to be, especially if going forward we get into this drought again, because it's going to happen. If we don't buy more of a traditional goal scorer or just a better player than Gabriel Jesus to play that 9, mark my word, this is going to happen again. And it sucks, but we need to upgrade at the 9. And I think Jesus is a great player, but when you have a player like Jesus who does so much stuff outside of the box, we're going to have games where Martinelli's off. You're going to have games when Saka's off. And Jesus and Odegaard, who, by the way, I think Martin Odegaard is a very underrated goal scorer for us. And that is another reason why I think our attack is lacking. He is playing very far back because why? We don't have a Thomas Partey. So he's playing further back. He's receiving the ball to kind of start the progressive play because Rice doesn't really like doing that. And in him doing that, he's not really in the box as much. He's not really getting involved in much and getting into as many goal-scoring chances as he should, because I think he's a very underrated goal scorer for us, and I think he's the kind of player, which is funny enough, is what Ryan talked about, how we don't have players that just shoot like right off the bat, and we don't. A lot of teams have been. I'd love to see a stat of who leads the league in block shots. It's definitely us, or I guess
it's gotta be
shots get. It's 100% us.
Shots, having the shots.
The last
blocked.
3 games, I was like, "What am I watching?" Everybody's blocking our shots, and I don't necessarily think it is because we're taking too many touches. I think it's part of it. I don't think it's all of it, but regardless, whatever. Odegaard is that guy that'll just take the ball and he'll just put it in. I mean, whether it goes in the net or not is one thing, but he's a very underrated goal scorer, and he did that a lot for us last season. He's a big reason why we got to where we were because of his goals.
What do you have? 15 goals last year. He tied the record for non-penalty goals,
like that.
right?
Yeah.
I think he tied. Who is it? Frank Lampard. I mean, how many of those did we see last year? Tottenham, Newcastle. I mean, he was pinging them from out there, and then especially the one that he loves, right there around the 10-yard line, the cutback. I mean, he was scoring those for fun, right? So, and to Ryan's point, like, yeah, if he's coming back to help build play, well, then he's not going to be on the end of a lot of those, and that's definitely been frustrating. Like, and we need those goals, obviously. So, oh man, it is so frustrating, and I just and the Eddie thing too. Like, I agree, he's not going to be the guy that picks the ball up at the 30-yard line, takes a couple step overs and just rifles one, right? Like, he's the guy that can pin a man in the box and turn him. He's done that. Get a shot off. He's had a few of those, maybe 1 or 2 this year, but he can do that move. It's just and I feel like Eddie, like, he's obviously not going to go on loan, but I feel like it's one of those things. Like, if he did go to Palace, I could see him doing like what Joe Willock did when he went to Newcastle. I'm like, we weren't really using him. Joe Willock goes to Newcastle, goes crazy over there. They obviously want to buy him, which they did. I could see him being on a different team that needs that type of striker that, hey, if he's in the box, he can score, he can put away his chances, and it could be great for them. It's just not that great for what we want to do, which is a little frustrating. And I could see why there's maybe a little market for him because, I mean, he can do it.
It's crazy because I agree with you, but in the same respect, it's like if we're in the 18-yard box, like, he should be exactly what we want to do. We need to put the ball. At the end of the day, it's like, it's frustrating because I feel like when I watch us play, I'm like constantly like arguing with myself before the game, during the game, and after the game. Because, like I said, I think we've only had one bad game all year, and it was the Fulham game. I think we've dominated Liverpool in the 2 games we played them. I think we should have beaten them both times, but we didn't. We didn't beat them either time. We didn't beat Villa. We lost to Newcastle. And it's frustrating because it's just a simple. I'm obviously, like, we've been going at this for almost an hour and a half, and just solely about putting the ball in the back of the net. So it's obviously harder than the way I'm kind of relaying it, but we just got to put the ball in the back of the net. And I think Eddie's perfect at that. So, like, why and it goes to what you're saying, like, oh, he doesn't really fit the way we play. It's like, but why not? I don't know the answer to that question because we need someone. And that's why I'm beating the constant drum. I mean, you want this even building any squad, but we need someone that comes in and is going to be better than Jesus off the rip. We need a world-class player. And I don't see any, again, besides Usman, I don't see anybody out there. So for me, seeing us linked to like these younger strikers for 25 million, 30 million, 40 million, I don't know. It doesn't excite me because you're just papering the cracks. And that's something that everyone says that we're known for doing. You know, we did it towards the end of the Arsene Wenger years. We did it when we hired Unai Emery and that whole regime. So I don't know, because I think we're at a good place. Even if we don't upgrade and we keep Jesus, we're at a good place. But you know, when all this goes down, I don't know. It's frustrating to see on Twitter every day, or what, you know, like Glenn says, whatever the fuck it's called.
Well, this is supposed to be phase 5, right? You know, this summer is supposed to be the icing on the cake piece. You know, we went and we rebuilt the defense. We got Declan Rice. Like, this is supposed to be the big splash. So you're right. I don't want to see any $22 million strikers from the Eredivisie or, you know, the Bundesliga. Like, no, we need the big splash. They're like, okay, this is the guy. Because you're right. We don't, and I mean, Ian Wright texted the other day. He's like, we need a killer. You know, that's what we don't have. You know, we
need Ian Wright.
Yeah, I would love that. But just like, you know, you see the teams that are around us, right? We obviously Holland, we know. Obviously Salah, we know. You know, we hate the other team, and you know, but they have Son who does this, right? He's the one they can, you know, just pull a goal and score chances that, you know, we don't have a guy that you sick by, oh shit, like, whoa, like he just did a crazy thing that's not expected. Like, our goals are sometimes so choreographed, and I think teams are like, we've been sussed out a little with that. Double up on the wings and throw everyone in the box. That's what everyone does. And we don't have someone that's going to come on the end of these crosses either. So it's not like we have like the length for someone, hey, if we clip a ball in and someone's just going to come in and head it, like we don't even have that. So it's just like a lot of that's missing. We need like the fuck you guy. We need the guy that just scores crazy goals that no one's expecting. That's definitely
we need a terror in the middle of the pitch, because when you look at it, when you have a team to play us, I think the first thing they look at is, okay, how are we going to stop Arsenal? We have to. It's what you exactly said. We need to neutralize Martinelli and neutralize Saka. I think those are our two dangerous players, and they're very dangerous. Problem is they're too far wide, because we want to stretch the field. We want to open up the field a little bit, make them work, because we're one of the hardest working teams in the Premier League.
Yep.
So I get that. I get why we do that, but it's like, okay, but I get what you're trying to allow the rest of the team to do, but you're having our guys easily neutralized. Teams could easily see through that, and like you said, they do it. So we need that terror. I think that was a big reason why we signed Kai Havertz. I think Arteta saw Kai as our terror, and I think he could still do it. Don't get me wrong. I shout out to my friend Connor. He texts me every Arsenal game. Kai is fucking useless. Oh, Kai's on the pitch. He's always giving me shit. Even when Kai scores, he's always giving me shit about Kai Havertz. And I was very upset when he went to Chelsea, because that's someone who follows German football. I loved him at Bayern Leverkusen. Yeah. He did very well for the national team, and I don't know if I wanted him at Arsenal, but I still thought he was a good player. And seeing him go to Chelsea wasn't great. But when we got him, he kind of again lost its luster, because everyone's, oh, he's a Chelsea reject. I didn't really see him as a Chelsea reject, but he has that Chelsea, again, he lost a little luster, you know, coming from Chelsea. But I really do think he could be that terror, and I think our system really enables him to thrive.
Yeah.
Problem is, he's a player that's never played the system. It took him it took him a few games, which it should. It's not an easy system to learn. He's not really playing. He didn't start playing in the front three. He's playing that left 8, and goals weren't coming for him. He wasn't scoring goals, so he kind of went in a little bit of a dip, and he kind of was like getting frustrated. And I think that's tough when you want to be a terror in the middle of the pitch and contribute defensively, which I think he has in spades done since he's been with this club. I think he's very underrated what he's done defensively for us. But I think at the end of the day, Arteta is like, okay, cool, like I like what you're doing, but I need you to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
And I think his frustration of not being able to do that, I think has hindered his learning of the system and hindered his way of kind of integrating in the squad chemistry wise. But he has scored, and I think he's had his games. And I think him playing the false nine was kind of a breath of fresh air. I liked it. He didn't score, so it wasn't great, but I still think he again enabled us to succeed in the attacking third. So it's gonna be interesting to see what we do. But I just again don't like Martinelli and Saka out wide. I think they could be like, and everyone talks about, oh, we want Martinelli in the middle of the pitch to be our striker. I don't want him to be our striker, but I do want to see him in the middle of the pitch a little bit more. I do want to see Saka in the pitch a little bit more. So teams are worrying about them, like, oh, they could invert, they could do this, they could do that. We don't do that. We kind of just stick to our guns. Go, hey, Martinelli, get some chalk on your boots. Hey, Saka, get some chalk on your boots, and try to beat the fullback. Which, yeah, I mean, there's games where Martinelli puts the left back or right back on toast, and there's games where Saka puts the left. But it's just, again, it's like Ryan said, it's predictable, it's choreographed.
That's probably the best word that I've heard used to describe how we try to score goals.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work when we want to get to where we want to be. Yeah, sure, we'll beat a Fulham. Yeah, we'll beat Bournemouth. We'll beat Sheffield.
Well, we won't. Well, not this year. We won't.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Like, it's on paper. It should do the things that we want to do, but we need to, as a team, evolve. We can't be in, in Pep's shadow, because when you look, and that's another thing I kind of wanted to bring in, because I was preparing myself, because I thought kind of would be like, oh, horseshoe of death. We're so slow. We're a slow attacking team. We're very slow. We're the third slowest team in the Premier League. You want to know who's 2-1? Number 2, Burnley. Vincent Kompany, prodigy of Pep and City player in and out. And guess who's number 1? Man City, slowest team in the Premier League, and they have the most goals in the Premier League. So I don't think that's really an issue, but we need to, again, I think going back is we're too choreographed, but from that we have to evolve. And I think he tried to evolve with signing Kai Havertz. It hasn't gone the way we wanted it to go, and I get that, but that's fine. Evolve. We need to sign someone better than Jesus. We need to just keep evolving, keep moving, and keep giving teams a headache.
This is the argument that I'll use against you.
Okay.
And I get the better than Jesus, better than Eddie. I hear it and I want it. I don't disagree with that part. But this is where I do come back to the system. And I say to myself, we're going to attack from these wide areas, and everything else that you said about how wide Martinelli and Saka are. I agree with all of that. But then you look at Ben White on the right, and I'll use Tomiyasu on the left, and they're out wide, and they may invert, but they don't invert enough. They don't invert far enough to draw defenders away from Martinelli or Saka. And then you have the left 8, whoever it might be, Havertz, whomever, and you have Martin Odegaard. And what we've done is we've created a triangle with the wing, the fullback, and the midfielder out wide. And there's nothing in the middle. So we have 3 players out wide, left, right, triangles, great. But we have a player that we've isolated in the middle, whether it be Jesus, whether it be Trossard has gotten a run there, whoever's playing that number 9 spot, and then whoever's playing the 6, Declan Rice, Jorginho, they're in the middle, but they're more of the they're more of the let's just call it the tip of the triangle up there, and then you've got William Saliba and Gabriel hanging back to try to stave off a counterattack. So what happens is we're so wide and we can't move inside, because what we've done is we've separated one side of the field from the middle and the other side. So now we have to dribble back through the middle again to try to build anything there, but we never build through the middle. And being the third slowest team to create a chance, if that's the way that they're going to word something like that, that's a very interesting stat, by the way. Yeah. That's fine that you want to dominate possession and okay, it hopefully keeps the ball out of your own net, and that's all well and good. But at some point, man, and you're right, the slowness of the buildup, and even when we get the ball on a counter, and this business of running down the wing and then break and sprinting to get to the other side of midfield and then breaking into a mild jog. Because we're waiting for everyone else to come forward. And when I say everyone else, I mean the other team. Because again, to Ryan's point, it is almost like it is if we're not going to score the choreographed goal, why bother? Or if we're not going to walk the ball into
spine is so important.
Yep.
That's I guess that's my counter to you is that's why building a spine is so important. We lost Xhaka, and for someone, especially me, who was never a big Xhaka guy, we know that replacing him was very important. That's why, again, Kai Havertz was that guy. He offers more in attack. Stats show he's been offering more defensive. He hasn't been offering more attack than Xhaka when he played the left 8 for us, but Kai can and should. But right now he's doing better defensively than Graham Xhaka did last season, the last couple seasons for us. Again, Partey coming back. It all goes back to Partey, in my opinion. It sucks. Partey not being back
that's
really threatens us because again, Odegaard should be on the right. He's not where he should be. We need to strengthen our spine, and that's why I think it really comes down to replacing Jesus. But I mean, in reality, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I just think our spine is very important, and I feel like Arteta doesn't see our spine. I don't think Arteta thinks our spine is strong enough, so he just persists choreographing down the wings, playing the wings, and then hopefully we catch a break when we get into the 18-yard box. But not having Partey, not having Odegaard where he should be, Kai is still trying to figure the system out, trying to find his form. The spine is, I think, where if we could strengthen our spine, if we could just play better football within that spine, we're going to the Champions League, we're going to the Premier League. I have no doubt about it because of kind of what Saka, again, going back to what I don't like about them, but what they offer is great, and it's wonderful for the spine of this team, and it does great things, and we could create more, and we could kind of give different looks how we get into the box. But, when the spine struggles, it like I said, it's kind of why we're having this conversation right now. That's why it looks like, we're choreographing things and we're stretched too far wide because that spine is just so exposed, both on attack and counterattack and on defense.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's hard for me to get so mad because you're replacing we haven't had Partey basically all season. So replacing him and Xhaka and trying to go for a title, it's I'm upset and I'm frustrated, but it's hard for me to get really mad about what we're doing when we don't have one of our main guys. And we talked about him before the season started. We thought, I even think Ryan mentioned before the season started that he's going to be the reason why we get to where we need to go is Thomas Partey, with Rice and everything else. And, and another thing with Bukayo is, I know we mentioned this not too long ago. I don't remember the last time I've seen, the Ben White rip around overlap and then the clipped ball to the back post. That used to be a thing. I see a lot more, 1-2 rondos with Odegaard over there instead of Ben White busting a gut to do an overlap and ripping a defender away. And then Odegaard and Saka can play the 2-man game and, penetrate even deeper in the box or get a shot or whatever. I don't remember the last time I've seen that. And sometimes they either put him through and he can clip one or they don't. And then him and Odegaard do their thing. That used to be so powerful and it's just non-existent right now. So I'm confident that Arteta will, during this break, figure something out. I think we'll see a really good performance at Palace. Hopefully, who we want to be healthy is healthy. But I think he, with this break, will, and everyone getting healthier, we'll see. I was honestly worried that we were going to see another Fulham against Liverpool. That was the thing I was worried about the most. I was like, holy shit. I've never, other than, and I know Ryan mentioned this, that game and the first half against Chelsea, well, I was like, I don't even know who this team is. So at least I'm at least glad we saw a good performance against Liverpool as the next game. So that leads me to believe that we can figure it out and kick on from here, hopefully. So it just seems like where the break came at a bad time for us last year with the World Cup, I think it came at a good time now because we definitely need it.
No, yeah, great. And I also think too, again, I think we have key players that just are battling. I don't want to say key players. I just think we have guys in the 11 that are playing week in and week out, battling injuries. I think, Ben White, Demsek foot injury. Yeah, and Arteta said it on multiple shows, multiple press conferences. He will never tell you that he's hurt. He'll just fight through it. And
right.
it's a kind of a pain in the ass because Ben White's not playing well. Saka not playing well. So it's very difficult to kind of persist with what we're doing when we play with injured players, and that's why I get so frustrated. Where I'm just like,
The rotation.
we have so many players at our disposal. Whether you think Trossard or Reece Nelson, ESR, Vieira are good enough, well, yeah, maybe they're not. Because Arteta sees stuff in training, but it's.
But to your point, to continue to play guys that are hurt seems crazy.
I'm
right?
very against that. As much
Yeah.
as we all love Saka, and we like, like a couple months ago, if someone was like, "Oh, you want to play Reece Nelson or Saka?" Not at 100%, everyone would say Saka. But
Right.
now, it's like he's had 2 or 3 really bad games, and I don't know. I mean, and again, it goes back to what we were talking about, how some players just need to play week in and week out, and like that, if you give them a break, it could be really detrimental to like their health, and they can get hurt. But
right, well, that was the scary thing is Arteta. I don't know when he said it, but he's like, well, yeah, like if you want to be a superstar, you need to play 60 games a year. I'm like, dude, like not all the superstars are also not being protected either. Like he's still getting kicked and tactical fouled, and guys are running through him, and no yellow cards are coming. So he might be getting beat up more than the guys that Arteta is mentioning, right? So that's another thing too. It's just like, yeah, the fatigue and the amount of games are stacking up. He's also getting kicked to bits, and he has been. And that stat's been doing the rounds on Twitter or X or whatever. He's the guy that's been fouled the most, resulting in the least amount of yellow cards. So, and I remember the game against Chelsea, Cucurella was literally just running through the back of him, and the man just you couldn't get a yellow for love nor money, and it's just like, and it's always early. I feel like there's like a rule in the Premier League that you can just do whatever foul you want in the first 20 minutes, and you just won't get in trouble. It's insane.
Welcome back, Tim.
Hey, man.
Hi. Yeah, I don't know. Old laptop. I don't know. This is the second time in a row now that this has done this during a show. But the only point really the last point that I'll make before we wrap things up is when I mentioned the players that we don't have that the teams around us do. My point kind of was that's what we're missing. And I think we are missing that world-class player that can just, if he's going to be a fox in the box, he can be that. If he needs to create on his own, he can do that as well. Basically, the player that can play any style you want him to, he can play it. Yeah. Very few players in the world, in terms of attacking, that can do that. I don't know that Osimhen is the answer. I don't know that there is an answer. I guess Osimhen would be as good as we could hope.
Mbappe is as good as we can hope.
But even there, you get a lot. I mean, I agree with you, but it becomes a matter of. I'm a Kylian Mbappe guy. I don't like his attitude. I think his ego is too big for this club, and I don't think he fits. But I think he's exactly what we need to put in that number 9 role. I'd hand him the 14 jersey. Sorry, Eddie, but I'd hand him the 14 jersey, and I would just say, why I'm handing you this. Your countrymen did it for us. It's time for you to go do it for us. But there's no way that we'll. I mean, but that's pie in the sky stuff. I mean, you're taught there. If he won't go to the Saudi league, but they're the only place in the world that is going to be able to give him the money that he wants. Anyway,
he'll stay at PSG.
I could do a whole show about Kylian Mbappe, but That's that. Yeah, that's the player that we need is a player like that, world class, that can just do it any which way.
So you don't
know?
think Osman is that player? You don't?
I'll be totally honest with you. I see a lot of great highlights, but I don't watch enough of him. And
Yeah,
look, highlights are exactly what they are. Highlights. I want to watch a whole game. I want to see what he does in the context off the ball. Is he dragging a defender out of position? And again, remember the way that we play, the way that Arteta wants us to play is to build the attack from the wide areas. And if Osimhen can fit in there and we can figure out how to get the most out of him, then sure. I mean, I'm an Ivan Toney guy, and I don't think Ivan Toney works. I don't know that there's a player out there that solves this problem. I just don't know that player. I don't know that Mbappe solves the problem. I don't know that Mbappe gets the ball enough in this system. I don't know that he would get the ball enough. We're so quick to get the ball out wide. We get guys with 25 yards of green grass in front of them to run, and they kick the ball out wide. It's mind-blowing to me to watch. It really choreographed is the I'm going to say this word 1,000 times before the end of this night, but that's exactly what it is. And Ryan and I have talked so often for so many years about create the chaos. Create the chaos. In attack, create chaos. Defensively, be structured. That's what we need. But in attack, create chaos. We don't do it. We don't create any chaos. We create predictability. It's on count 4, you have to be here. And on count 7, you have to be over here with the ball in this spot on this side of your foot. It's honestly, if I could give them any bit of advice right now, it would be stop thinking. In attack, stop thinking. Just do. Go on autopilot and just do. And because I think ultimately they're thinking way too much. And I think that's down to Arteta. So I blame the players for not scoring because they're the ones that have to do it. But I blame Arteta for not trying something new to get them out of the funk. Arteta is simply looking at them and going, you're going to score playing this way, or we're going to fall to 10th place, and I'm going to blame you because you didn't score. And that's not right. It's both. To sit here and say one's at fault and the other is completely absolved of any blame is asinine to me. Arteta's the coach, the manager. It's his job to get them scoring. That's his job. Their job is to put the ball in the net. His job is when they're not to give them another way to do it. So that's where I'm at in terms of blaming both. So we're up on 2 hours here, gents.
Nice. Yep.
Yeah. Good show today. Final thoughts. Real Ryan, we'll start with you.
I'm just going to go back to what I said not too long ago. I think that we'll figure out a way. We're going to get healthy. We got a break. I think we'll see a performance that we're all happy with against Pals, and hopefully that's something that can continue for the rest of the season. And obviously, I know, and this is just I know you guys probably talked about it earlier, but I'm really looking at the Champions League as something, depending on the run you get. You know what I mean? You never know. So if we can figure out the putting the ball in the net thing, I think defensively we have what it takes to do those 2 legs and do the Champions League thing. But obviously we'll definitely need to score, but those games get tight, not a lot of scoring in those, but I think defensively we'll be good there. But if we can, find our form, I think, and if the run breaks our way, if we don't get Munich or something right after Porto, God willing, that, we can maybe figure out a way to get to a semi, maybe a final. So I'm still really confident. I know, there's a lot of frustration. I had to stay off Twitter for a while, especially, after that Liverpool game, because I was like, it's gonna be so bad on Twitter. So yeah, I still feel confident. I think we have the players, if everyone's healthy, to do something special. So we'll see. Don't freak out.
OG Ryan.
I mean, he worded it perfectly. But yeah, I'm excited to see us get healthy. I'm excited to see players come back into the fold. Hopefully, we could change things up a bit because, yeah, we need to put the ball in the back of the net. And I just at the last couple of games, I just feel like we're never going to score again. And the more I talk about us and the conversation that we had today, I'm just back into back in my head. I'm like, we're never scoring again. So what is this? This doesn't matter. We're never scoring again. It's just, yeah, it's frustrating, but I do think we're gonna come back from this. But I really just want to see us get healthy, put Porto to bed, advance to the Champions League, and just take things game by game. Because we're still in the title race, whether people like to admit it or not. We still got to keep fighting and still collect as many points from the Premier League as possible. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, well said, fellas. Good stuff today. Demsek was in the chat pretty much all night. Matthew DeSouza was in there as well. Rennet was in there very first thing. Bronx Gunner was in there as well. Russ Morgan, thank you everybody for being in the chat. If you've made it this far, thanks for being with us. James Johnstone jumped in. Hello, cool James. At the very end, thanks for being here. If you made it this far in the live chat, thank you very much. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you made it this far on replay, God bless you. We greatly appreciate that. And please drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Don't jump off a bridge just yet. There's a long way to go. We've got 18 matches left in the league season, and at the very least 2 in the Champions League. So let's enjoy the ride. It's a lot sweeter when you can enjoy the ride when you get to the top of the mountain. So yeah, don't anybody jump off a bridge yet. We're going to get some important players back, hopefully healthy for us in short order, and we're going to see the ball go into the back of the net. So beyond that, Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year to you guys. That's it. We are out of here. Stay tuned. We'll do it again. Hopefully next week. Nothing happens with me where I'm either sick or breaking bones or somebody's getting whatever. I don't know. Hopefully we're back next week. We can maybe do a little preview of Crystal Palace and get into a few more things that I'm sure we kind of didn't touch on today. That's all we got for you. It's been good footy talk. We'll see you out there.